Here we are for another special rock and roll Rainbow Dragon edition from my neighborhood to the mountain. I'm gonna put the gloves because it's on that cold side, and I got the backpack. It's more than 44 pounds for sure this time, more than 44 pounds, because I just loaded some cans for the donation from the food, so I'm good to go. And of course, good to go. All the way, we're gonna go roundabout for another special 23rd of December, Monday, roundabout special route. Grateful, thankful my electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and we're gonna go pass by from my neighborhood on a journey to my second home, my world, auctioning everything that you see wearing it. I got the big backpack, so I loaded up with some cans, and I'm gonna show because it's leftovers for the cans. And here from my neighborhood, turn your heads left and right before you cross the street, even if it's one way, because you never know, there could be mistakes. So here from my Montreal, Hakata, Montreal, this is a community fridge right here. So I just took some cans, I stacked up for the holidays, so because I'm financially stressed, but this I'm not gonna take because I got turkey, but gotta give somebody the shout out who donated this big piece of meat, maybe a family could have product of Canada, and it says, you know, it's pork tenderloins, as you see, pork tenderloins, 1534 Canadian, 1534 Canadian. So I'm gonna put that for some family there. We got fruit blends, and let's check the best before date on it. July 25 is good for smoothies, you know, strawberries. So I'm gonna leave that for somebody else there. And you got some more stuff. So here we go. And here on this side here, and my backpack is filled, you know. I put a little bit of cans for me and my anonymous friend who wasn't my friend because of the money. And here we got that sunshine food pantry and fridge, both here, you know. So see, this is where people can come serve, and you got legumes, you got soup, you got legumes, you got for babies, baby powder, formula, you got thank you for the food security. Starts with the farmers and food producers, LOV, to the food producers, the truckers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, and let's get that North American Collective Workers Party. See, you got some Canadian chicken noodle soup, is gonna be right here, and for the neighborhood. Then you got vegetables. You got some vegetables, mixed vegetables, and you got plenty other goods, and you got this big bag of rice. I already got rice, but see, converted, long grain rice. So we're gonna stack everything there. So this is full. Don't take it all if you come. I took 5 cans for me, 5 for my anonymous friend, and you know, that's about it for that. So that's where we're gonna go roundabout all the way to the mountain now. That's why my backpack is full. You know, I gotta watch out so my red glove doesn't go, because I'm challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border, and I got those gloves, you know, donated from my anonymous friend. So I took some cans from over there. I took some cans for beans and vegetables and legumes and soups. I took for me and for somebody else. I basically took for 2. I said for the holidays, today being the 23rd, to last us about for a week, you know, although I got some more food at home, and that's gonna be some good cooking. So now I'm not gonna get any spending of the money because I don't have any money anyways, financially stressed, but open for business 24/7, you know. So that's all we gotta get going on that, and we gotta get doing with the LOV, and for the truckers, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, be safe on the roads. You gotta be safe on the roads, my brothers and sisters, you know. North Americans United. Sometimes you gotta get that patient. I know it's stressful times for many of us, and you know, I drive these, and public transit, auctioning everything that I'm wearing, $1 million each. Gonna give 50% to my anonymous friend, and no excuses today. I said it was cold, but you know, I felt a bit moody, but I'm no longer been a long time since I've been depressed and suicidal. I conquered being depressed and suicidal 2017 when I crossed Canada coast to coast. This is a special Dragon versus Trump edition, challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. And have been since 2018. And you see, that's the big backpack. And yeah, it's on the heavy side. It's definitely more than 44 pounds now, for sure. Definitely more than 44 pounds. So I'm gonna turn a little bit on the left and right, you know. It's like military style World War III types of situations, and let's avoid those tariffs. Let's get that North American Collective Workers Party and support a dream. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is fundamentally my dream. For a public-private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex across North America. And I gotta give a shout out to the construction workers, because yours truly, my will is to build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, to build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. I will to build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and parallel the Forgotten Goddess Temple, So I always admire construction workers, especially those cranes, and the knowledge, the brains and the muscle, you know. To build the public workers, got to give a salutation, because today, you know, the recycling passed in the morning, so those are also athletes picking up that recycling and putting it in the recycling bins and those big machines, and the public workers LOV to the public workers LOV. Love to the public workers, the firefighters, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, my fellow Canadians, brothers and sisters. The king is absent, it's time for the republic. The king is absent, it's time for the republic. The king is absent, it's time for the republic. The North American Union create a passport and have a great North American census, integrated citizen security services for the new 911 protocols, of which have written much philosophy theories in the past years. And right here, gotta give a salutation to the construction workers who build and gonna continue to build buildings, you know, like housing, and those the construction workers, so the truckers, the butchers, the bakers, those in the daycares. Today, 23rd, we changed some diapers. I gotta give them a little bit of that LOV. Gotta give them some good LOV with that. And always gotta give out that meditation to get it on the go. And the bus drivers with it. Cold days, so I don't know my battery how long she's gonna go for me to film this. But nonetheless, we're gonna go for a session all the way going east. Going on the east now, and see. Gotta salute the bus drivers. Please, NFL National Football League, NHL National Hockey League, and the grocery store clerks, scanning those items, preparing those items, loading those shelves across Canada, Quebec, North America. We gotta get that UE, the Universal Exchange, and based on my DRT theory. ASAP, it's pressing matters, of course, and I believe that is the only solution where we are now with the current situation. With the current situational of the public finances, where they have reached a critical point where we pay so much interest, because that's the fundamental equilibrium problem, the paying of the interest, and more you go. And in the 21st century, we need to establish a new financial concordium, basically to have a maximum of interest of 10%. I hope this business did good, and I would have loved to have a lot of charity, you know, to get it on the go, a lot of charity to get it on the go and to do, you know. I would have loved to have 44 billion once Trump got elected. With those 44 billion, I would have definitely went and distributed just some 10% of that 44 billion. That would have been 4.4 billion, and I would have went across the North American collective, across North America, and would have distributed food, would have distributed 50,000. I would have said, here it is, 50,000, here's 50,000, 50,000. This change your life. This is my redemption. This is your second chance. And to the homeless, black men, white, black, whatever the case may be, women, men, trans, whatever the case may be. And I would say, if you got some addictions, you know, slowly get off, so you're able to live again. And with 50,000, you can start your life over. You can rent a room, rent a hotel, rent a motel, and what you do is the money is up to you. This is your second chance. Take it or leave it. Do what you do with the money. That's my counsel, that you do, turn your life around. And because I had my own second chances, you know. I have my own second chances, and I have my own second chances, and I have my own second chances, and I survived COVID, and it's gonna be 5 years. I'm marking 5 years, of course, now, since I predicted an international conflagration across the world, of course. I am an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, philosopher, artist, athlete, and yours truly, mystic, independent. Ask people that Asperger's, also known as HFA, which again is not a mental illness, it is a neurological mental divergent condition, which makes me predisposed to obsessive interest. And my holy trinity is geopolitics, the study, the intensity thereof. It's 24/7, the study, the analysis, the revision of geopolitical events and theories, and sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport, and fitness activity which I prefer is dancing. As I bust the dance move now, choreography in my head as I march towards the mountain, my second home, Mount Royal, and the third one, the Trinity Rock and Roll. Oh, it's rock and roll. For the truckers on the road, hey, butchers and the bakers flipping up some of those cheeseburgers. In the fast food, you gotta see. That's the Labor Public Party. Hey, for the public workers changing out those aqueducts. You know, that's a quackaduck, that's what's up. I gotta sing it. For the North American Collective Workers Party, blah, blah, blah. North Americans unite, we must avoid 25% tariffs. This Quebecer Canadian who was born in the USA thrice, 3 times in past lives, previous incarnations, who actually served twice when I was born a man, once I was born a woman, sometimes in my previous incarnations. Past lives I was a man and woman, you get that 50-50 now. Androgynous, pansexual, double trouble. You get it, you know. Rainbow dragon, gotta get it for the workers. Sometimes you gotta just focus on the principles and what can you offer, what can I offer on the table, what can you put on the table, and what can you do, I can use a massage therapy session right now, but I took a bath during the weekend because I can't afford a massage therapy session. But you know, the firefighters across North America, they deserve a massage therapy session more than yours truly, so finance them a massage therapy session. Millionaires, give some charity. Hopefully it was a lot of charity in NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, and MLB. Please reduce the cost of the tickets by 44.9%. So what I was saying, you know, in the past lives incarnations, I served in the United States Armed Forces, 2 different wars, 156 years apart. 156 years apart, 156, 156, 156 years apart. The wars in different incarnations, and you know, right here on this 23rd of December, 2023, 23rd of December, 2023. It is the 23rd of December, 2023, going towards the mountain and having a heavy backpack on, meditating on what's transpiring now across North America Collective, what I call the Great North American Civilizational Complex, and of course my direction towards the mountain and my dream for the North American Public-Private Partnership, the greater complex of the North American Collective, the Dragon versus Trump. Started challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border, and let's build together for the North American Union, the great Public-Private Partnership, the great North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the great North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the great North American People's Imperial Coliseum, parallel to the Forgotten Goddess temple of the Forgotten Goddess. I goddess it when you say God. Bless Canada, God bless Quebec, God bless the USA, God bless North America. I gotta balance those scales with the GODDSS and the goddess forgotten. But just like the pyramids is still, and of course just like the pyramids is, you know, just like the pyramids is, you know, and I'm a piece of dust, lusting nonetheless, but this piece of dust who lusts, who's androgynous pansexual, is gonna salute those athletes there on that big machine, big truck that you see there in the background, because they're gonna pick up the garbage, they're gonna load up the garbage, so I gotta do a rock and roll for the public workers of North Americans Unite. And of course, since geopolitics is my obsessive interest, I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and I've all created my military defense theories, which of course I'm calling for the implementation of the Operation Northern Scorpio, of the Operation Northern Scorpio, to get it on that Operation Northern Scorpio, and of course to get a the total mobile defense theory, the T, total M, mobile D defense theory, my total mobile defense theory for Canada coast to coast, parallel with the implementation of the Operation Northern Scorpio. And of course, in terms of a defense, I imagine a few of those trucks, coast to coast, big mega trucks like that, and for the defense to get that coast to coast, and we're gonna play defense. The Great North American Complex, we're gonna learn to play that defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, rebuild the infrastructure, implement my vision, the DRT, the debt refusion theory via, of course, the public partnership again, and of course to implement the citizen integration theory, of course, which I gotta do for the Dragon Army, public-private partnership Dragon Army, for the Great North American Collective, and the DGA, the Dancing Goddess Army, you know. with it as I go towards the mountain. I gotta encourage my fellow who's, of course, going on that fitness. Something which I gotta encourage. You gotta stay fit. Super important to work out, train, exercise, although financially struggling now. My only stress is financial, $10,000 in debt to the RBC Royal Bank of Canada. But hey, I got food, I got these in the backpack, some nice cans which I'm gonna put to good use over the holidays, and I've been in a World War III mode since 2019 in October. Of course, November, I predicted an international conflagration. In October, November, I predicted an international conflagration. In October, I predicted an international conflagration. October, November, my conclusion was, based on my geopolitical analysis, was that humanity is again set towards an international conflagration, and so created a workout training program system, of course, to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario. That's correct. I have proof of work, and I have predicted in a general manner what's happening now, in a general overall manner what's happening now across the North American collective civilizational complex, across North America, and of course have and still continue to be, of course, on that geopolitics 24/7. And the main going into the 2025 year is, of course, to avoid tariffs on Canadian goods. We got to get that binational. I don't know about the 51st state. I don't know about that 51st state, but I do know that the king is absent. It's time for the Republic. God, it's time for North American Union. It's time for the UE, the Universal Exchange in it. It's time to play only that defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, like that hardball ball, aka blackout ball, like that. Hardball ball, aka blackout ball, like that. Hardball ball, aka blackout ball. It's a must. That's how we gotta get doing it. I gotta give a shout out to Hydro-Quebec. See the beautiful lights here for the holidays. Gotta give a shout out to Hydro-Quebec, workers of the past 20th century. Build the dams for us to have clean, zero pollution, zero energy, efficient energy, zero emission, zero pollution energy to utilize from the dams to get these beautiful holiday lights here. And our electricity goes to 5 or 6 states in the US, and 1/20th, which is 1/5 of the electricity, goes all the way to Manhattan Island. So we got to get that North American collective. We constitute a North American civilizational collective together, Canadians and North Americans. This Quebecer Canadian who was born in the USA, 3 times post 76, once a woman, twice a man, who has this big backpack on, the red one. Auction it, of course, for $1 million to give 50% to my anonymous friend. Give 50% to my anonymous friend, and we gotta get it on the go. So it's something which we gotta get doing with that. And although I wish I could afford a massage therapy session, a good massage. I took a bath over the weekend, so I'm gonna get that grateful with that. And that's always something that I gotta say, that millionaires, Wall Street, finance a massage therapy session to the firefighters, LOV. Gotta salute the train conductors, welders, electricians, the plumbers, all those in the fast food, switching some burgers, flipping some burgers in the fast food restaurants, those delivering some food. Got some big strikes going on. Wages have not kept up. Price of rent, living costs. We gotta get that centrist public-private partnership. Salute the construction workers to build more social housing. It's the construction workers that are gonna build it first. Construction workers. So it starts with them. Just as food security starts with the farmers, and all this civilization is a privilege. Having electricity, civilization is a privilege. Civilization is a privilege. Financially stressed, but nonetheless grateful, thankful. My electricity bill is paid, and got food, got coffee, and I got some new cans. Got that backpack full, so it's on the back now. And of course, it's on the heavy side, and I'm actually debating whether I should do my long marches, because I'm already more than about 2 hours since I started my march, and just do just a 4 hours, 5 hours maximum on the clock, you know. March, because holidays coming, so I already did clock in a lot during last week, and now the backpack is on the heavy side, you know. Have those gloves in it, have those gloves in it inside, so I just want to be prudent, you know. So I'm gonna be prudent, you know, not to over work out, because tomorrow's another day, you know, and I don't got a lot of money. I got a few dollars. I gotta buy my anonymous friend a little lotto ticket for the holidays, a little holidays. To the little holidays, I'm gonna get a lotto. So here I gotta turn my head left and right, because you never know, you know. The brakes might malfunction, the brakes might malfunction, the brakes might malfunction, and that's what it is with that, you know. So that's what it is for the lovers, you know. The butchers, the bakers, and with consent hug like you never hugged before. And I got out of the way there on the side because they were a family with a child, and I wanted to get some steps out for them to be safe and secure, you know, because now I'm in the public, and in the public I got added responsibilities, duties, and obligations, and I can be very weird with autism, HFA, high functioning autism, also known as Asperger's, you know, being that neurological mental divergent condition, you know, which of course affects, you know, and we gotta get doing on that. That's what we gotta get doing, you know. So that's what we gotta get on the doers, you know. That's what I'm saying, you know. You also gotta be prudent, even if it's one way, even if there's no stop. Always turn your heads left or right. You never know, you know. The citizen driver might press the accelerator. Citizen driver might press the brakes, but the brakes potentially can malfunction, you know. So that's what it is, and that's why we're gonna get it on the go now. Encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. Working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Always thinking now about the truckers. What are they transporting? The good railways, especially the newly formed CPCK, Canadian Pacific Kansas City in 2023. That is the railroad that connects Canada, US, and Mexico. It's a railroad that connects Canada, US, and Mexico. That connects Canada, US, and Mexico, you know. So here I gotta go, you know, on that backpack to get it on the backpack, you know. It's on the heavy side. I got some cans, and I've got the gloves, by which I got them in 2018, you know. I got them in 2018 after I started challenging Donald Trump. First time I started challenging Donald Trump, of course, was when Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, on Canadian aluminum and steel, on Canadian aluminum and steel, you know, in 2018. And since then, of course, I've been challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border, and still do today. Today with a threat of even more tariffs of 25% on all, this time on all, ALL, all goods. The first tariffs imposed on Canadian aluminum and steel on the goods was only Canadian aluminum and steel, and only 10%. So 25% would be a big difference, a big difference, you know. That's what I gotta do with that. That's what I gotta do with that, you know. So that's what it is with that. That's what it is, you know. We gotta get it on that transposition, and we gotta get it on the XYZ. We gotta get it on the XYZ. So it's always something which we gotta do, you know. And admiring those lights there, beautiful lights, you know. That's something which I gotta transpose, and I gotta give a shout out again to Hydro-Quebec, because that's where I got that light above my head, and this to those workers, you know. Let's get that North American Collective Workers Party workers at Hydro-Quebec who build the dams. You know, it's always work. We got a lot of work to do in North America to rebuild the dams and to rebuild the infrastructure of the collective. So lots of work. It's lots of work to do, and myself included, you know. I had so much work, you know. So much work to do, of course, which I did, and different employments, especially during COVID, but a few months, a few weeks, short-lived, you know, due to Asperger's, HFAs. There's a lot of misunderstanding, and it's more known now in the past decade, but it's something which I live with, and I have certain, I'm less able, I'm less capable, I'm less capable in certain social settings, and non-verbal communication and interactions can seem weird and awkward, and I don't mean to offend, it's just I live with this neurodivergent condition which makes me predisposed to ritualized routines, and echolalia. I do not use the word symptom, prefer to use the word characteristics, because it's not a mental illness like a symptom. It's not an illness per se. It's just a neurodivergent condition. So it's a characteristic, you know. We have a special interests which can be super intense and concentrated, which the NTs, neurotypicals, might characterize as obsessive. But the word obsessive here in this case, for us, Aspies, it's not really obsessive because we do not have the same mental energies. We're very focused and intense when we're involved in those special interests. So I prefer not to use the word obsessive. I prefer to use it as special interest. So mine is geopolitics. It's geopolitics study and analysis 24/7. I am an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who has predicted in a general manner the current situation, global situation. A World War III, basically. I predicted a World War III, an international conflagration, in other words, a World War III situation. I am not defined by the appellation, but a World War III scenario with multi-dimensions and multi-possibilities, but nonetheless a World War III, aka international major conflict, a major international conflict in 2019 that is on the horizon. So that's on the horizon. So that's what's happening with Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East, potentially in the Middle East, potentially with China, Taiwan again. And if I can make a summary, is that these conflicts were of course not fully resolved, you know. Not fully resolved from the 20th century. So I predicted that there's going to be they're going to continue again in the 21st century. They're going to restart, and these conflicts will again resurface. So in many ways that's what's happening, and I don't know if I'm going to film way more because it seems that it's starting to snow, so I don't want to damage my apparatus. I guess I'm going to have to hold it close, but nonetheless, that was, if I can make a summary of the reasons why, the motive why I concluded that humanity is set on a course towards an international conflagration, is because, of course, there are non-resolved conflicts from the 20th century, and that's going to be having a spillover effect in the 20th century. So in many ways, that's what is basically occurring in the world. These are conflicts which have not been fully resolved in the present day, in the 21st century, if you will, 21st century, and from the 20th century, that there's going to be a continuity and a spillover. So that is basically the fundamentals of my analysis, of which I had make the conclusion that humanity is headed towards an international conflagration. In other words, in World War III. So it was more in depth, more layers to it, more details to it, but generally that was it. And that's basically what's happening, right? Because Russia-Ukraine is fundamentally a 20th century. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine is fundamentally a conflict which dates from the 20th century, specifically from the Cold War period and the 20th century dissolution of the Soviet Union. The Cold War lasted almost 45 years. Almost 45. And now, you know, it was in the news with November and December. There was 1989 revolutions, the 1989 revolutions, the 1989 revolutions. The 1989 revolutions in socialist, communist, Warsaw Pact, the Pact of Warsaw, the Warsaw Pact countries, which many countries were not part of the Soviet Union, but they had socialist, communist alliances with the Warsaw Pact. Bulgaria, Poland, East Germany, right, the GDR, East Germany, the Democratic Republic, East Germany, right? It was communist, socialist, authoritarian slash totalitarian. Many argue on whether it was fully totalitarian, but I guess the Stasis were, such as the Securitate in Romania, another secret police, but nonetheless, it was in the news. But Romania was the one that was the violent one, the most violent, because it was bloodshed. It was verging on a civil war. And on the 25th, I believe, of December, Ceausescu, Nicolae, and Elena were executed. Summary tribunal executed by a summary tribunal. So, what's interesting is, supposedly from what we know, even from the CIA fact book, is that in 1989, Romania was the country among the indebted one that had managed to pay off all their external debts. They had managed to pay off all their external debts. Romania managed to pay off all their external debts to the IMF, and loans which they had from the 1974 or something like that, from the 70s, and they were able to pay off the debts by implementing certain austerity measures. So it's listed as, in 1989, as their debt being zero. Interestingly enough. So now I'm on the topic of public finance. I will to, that's a nice red, my favorite color. I will to discuss, because I'm in debt, I pay interest, and I'm glad I paid my rent, but financially stressed. Many Canadians are. Tough times. Supposedly even the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, of which myself, before he was named RCMP in a past life incarnation, I served in the RCMP as well. Sometimes was a woman though, sometimes was a man, sometimes was a woman, sometimes was a man, sometimes was a woman, but nonetheless, supposedly I saw I watch sometimes different news outlets, international, worldwide, global news outlets, and I watch this news channel sometimes called Vion. It stands for W World I is One. W World I is one. W world is one. World is one. WION is the initial for the news outlet. And just about 8 months ago, there was a video. Supposedly the RCMP had sent a memo to the Trudeau government that they're preparing for possible unrest, and civil disorder, potential riots, because Canadians are broken angry. Canadians are broken angry. I'm not angry myself. I dealt with anger in the past years, but since the past 45 months after survived COVID, and when I accepted my neurodivergence, I can say that I'm joyous. But I live with my scars plenty, and retrograde amnesia, loss of memory of my life prior to moving to my new Dragon's Lair. I moved from a very moldy place, and nothing that I want to go back to. It's just I have lots of scars, and it's like flashes of trauma, and I got a surprise attack in the Montreal Metro. Surprise Carly vicious attack. I fell, I hit my head. I dislocated my shoulder. I went to the Jewish General Hospital. Here in Montreal. They replaced my right arm, gave me some medicine, and I was like, went home, and it was like kind of a coma, and for a few days. And my life prior to that incident is kind of, there's like a blackout, blackout. So yeah, here I am, proposing on the table, knowing that my DRT theory is the only solution, and my personal weirdness aside is the solutions which we got to implement, such as my workout training program system, which I'm proud to have created back in 2019. The General War Integrated Total Body Training System. General War Integrated Total Body Training System, officially known as the General War Integrated Total Body Training System. It is an efficient, simple, effective training program system, also known as the Dragon Army. The Dragon Army, the Dragon Army, the Dragon Army workout, the Dragon Army workout, the Dragon Army workout, you know, the Dragon Army workout, and that's what it is with that. And you know, back in 2019, then I survived COVID in February, March 2020, February, March 2020, you know, February, March, wow, 2020, that's when I survived COVID. For me, COVID was like death, pestilence, and disease. I thought I was gonna die. It was really like death, pestilence, and disease. I know it sounds like a hard rock and roll death metal song. Death, pestilence, and disease! But that's how it was for me, you know. For me, when I had it. That I had all the symptoms, you know. And I got triple vaxxed after 3 times. Triple. 3 vaccines. 3 times, that's it, I said. And now I'm just careful about public hygiene, and I keep the habits, you know, of washing my hands, open carrying my disinfectant when I touch the screen at the bank, you know. After I go at the bank, check how much I'm in the minus and in the red, because I am $10,000 in debt. But I wanted to check today, since the Bank of Canada reduced the interest, they reduced the cost of loaning costs. The interest payments reduced it by 0.5% just last week. It's a good move. But my DRT best, debt refusing to be best, and imposing 10% maximum thereafter our own loan. So I pay 11%. Under the new Dragon financial regime, it will have to be 10% maximum. We got to do it as principle, at least in North America, for all loans. 10% maximum, you know, is something which we really got to consider. 10% maximum, 10% maximum, you know. That's what we got to consider with that, you know. So we got to consider, and I checked, and after I disinfect, you know, because I think about, I touched the buttons to check my in the minus. I had to put the input on my code, you know, my code. So I had to tap in my code, and, you know, you have to do it by hand. And so I do it by hand, and then I meditate how many were there before me. When was the last time that was clean and disinfected? I don't know. Those are theirs. I mean, there is a regular cleaning, I guess, there, but maybe somebody else, some personal hygiene habits, you know, differ. And don't worry, I get dirty, but some things I am less able, and my anonymous friend always draws my attention. My anonymous friend, thank you for being a friend. Wasn't a friend because of the money. If I make $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, gonna give half, and gonna propose a marriage alliance, you know. Marriage alliance, special marriage alliance, you know. Special marriage alliance. Open BDSM switch. Cuckold, I guess. Cuckold. No need to spy on me. China, Secret Services of China. Don't need to cross the ocean, but supposedly they're already deep in the networks. Deep in the networks. No need to spy on me. Secret Services of Russia either. Stay over there, don't cross the Atlantic, don't cross the Pacific, you know. No need. If you're in Montreal, you know, got a tiny little androgynous scar clit, micro clit, dick clit. Being androgynous genitals, having my androgynous genitalia, you know. No need to spy me. I got a scar, so I got an alternative cream, so I scratch less, but I get some itches. I gotta scratch my little tiny clit dick, who sometimes goddess blessed magic goes rocket, but that's what it is with that. So it's I literally have, you know, scars on the body and even on the androgynous genitalia, and like wound, but hey, we live with our scars, I guess, you know. And yeah, I'm still joyous, you know, regardless, and having survived COVID. And I cannot stress enough, though, the importance of regular physical exercise. Today I cleaned the room, swept the floors, cleaned the bathroom, cleaned the corridor. It's a very small place, better than where I used to live. I'm not complaining. Better than where I used to live, but got a kitchen, you know, separate kitchen. So yeah. Anyways, so with that, I gotta get on the go, and I do the sweeping. I do the sweeping, and that's what it is with that, so that's what it is for the go, that's what it is for the now, so it's something which you gotta interject with that, so it's something which we gotta be mindful of, that we gotta do on the love, you know, it's one of the LOV, you know, sometimes it's not just the money, it's not all about the money, you gotta have some LOV, I guess, you know, money's to buy, sell. My DRT theory best. Money, my DRT theory best. Debt refusion theory, I'm going to now discuss it because I'm on the topic. So the debt refusion theory, the motive I make the statement that the DRT debt refusion theory is the only solution, of course, is to the fact that today we pay 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest. That's the amount of the public debt of Canada. 46.5 billion in interest. That's a billion has 9 zeros. 1 billion has 9 zeros. A billion is 1,000 million. So in 2020-2021 fiscal year, the amount was 20.3. Now that amount doubled, 20.3 double. That would have been 20.3 times 2 is 40.6. It's more than doubled. Just the debt servicing, in other words, just the amount of interest we pay on the public debt. So this is a catastrophe waiting to happen. It could happen. Black Swan event, it could happen be a black swan. It could be a black swan event. The first changing of the 2025, in 2025, the beginning of the year, in January, maybe the first week of February, there could be a public financial collapse of the public finances of Canada. The public financial collapse of Canada. It could be a public financial collapse due to the amount of interest, because it's not sustainable. Okay, due to COVID, there had to be implemented diverse programs for sustaining a population in terms of a crisis, in terms of an emergency. And I had several jobs, and you know, thank you for the Social Security check, you know. Thank you for the Social Security check. I want to repay everything back. I got trillions of kisses and rock and roll with kisses, rock and roll marching, and geopolitical work. So to get it on the go and to make the statement, yes, due to COVID, that's why it more than doubled. But in 3 years, the debt servicing, the interest only paid on the public debt more than doubled. So this is a catastrophe. You realize, right? One realizes, I hope, what I'm trying to explain here. The gravity of the public financial system collapse is on the horizon. It's on the horizon. That's it. That's all rock and roll. There's no arguing with the numbers here. So my DRT theory is the solution. Again, paradoxically, it's a paradox due to my neurodivergent mental psychic condition and the fact that geopolitics is my special interest, and I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical honest and theorist who, when you know about geopolitics, you have to know a little bit about public finances as well, because it's part of the greater geopolitical complexities. Public finances, as it is, of course, war is among the top 5 main pillars of geopolitics: war, diplomacy, public finance, private finance, and I guess government system, or elections. You know, if you study geopolitics, you have to be aware of who gets elected, if they're right wing, if they're center, if they're left wing. My centrism is North American centric. Pro-labor and universal revolutionary centrism is integrated with my trinity of theories: for North America, or for what I call the Great North American Civilizational Complex. The Great North American Civilizational Complex, the Great North American Civilizational Complex, the Great North American Civilizational Complex, the Great North American Civilizational Complex. And my DRT theory, debt refusion theory, is the only solution, is the only solution for what's happening now, due to the fact of how much we pay interest on the public debt, 46.5 billion this fiscal year. So that equivalates, that is exactly 46,000 million. That's how it is in the exactly calculation. 46,000 million, 46,000 million, 46,000 million, 46,000 million, 46,000 million, paying the interest on the debt. So my DRT theory stands for D, debt, R, refusion, T for theory. Is the only solution. The debt refusion theory, my theory is the only solution. In my theory is integrated monetary integration theory. What is monetary integration theory? Monetary integration theory is exactly the theory which was implemented in the European Union. In the European Union. So monetary integration theory is, of course, part of monetary integration theory, is part of the DRT. Inside the DRT is integrated monetary integration theory. So my theory integrates in it. My DRT theory, debt refusion theory, integrates monetary integration theory. So that is super important to understand fully. To fully understand. So monetary integration theory is integrated in my DRT theory, in my debt refusion theory. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, including my debt. So all the public and the private debt, my debt, your debt, our debt. I got $10,000 in debt to the RBC, to the Royal Bank of Canada. I got $10,000 in debt to the RBC, to the Royal Bank of Canada. So I'm going to explain now the DRT. And keep in mind, it includes monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory, which was implemented in the European Union. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt, my 10,000 to the RBC, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, all the public and the private debt of Canada. Since the United States dollar still is the currency of choice for world trade, global business, import, export, all the debt, we're going to convert it into US dollars. So the DRT, I'm calling for its implementation first and foremost in Canada, binational preferably, Canada, US, Canada, US, Canada, US, North America, North America, North America, North America, Canada, US, North America, North America, Canada, US, Canada, US, Canada, US, North America, North America, and then Canada first, North America, Canada first, North America, Canada first, North America, Canada first, North America. So Canada first, North America, North America, Canada first, North America, Canada first, North America, Then Canada first, preferably binational, Canada and United States implemented at the same time. Then Mexico, Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba is a paradox, but they're part of North America, the islands as well. They're part of the North American complex. They're part of the Great North American complex, the islands. Right? They're part of North America. So all the public-private debt converted to US dollar, that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. That's now, in my theory, it's integrated, like I said before, the monetary integration theory, which the Europeans implemented in the 1990s. More than 25 years ago, the Germans, they destroyed their national banks and their old currency they annulled. The same the French, the same the Italians, many countries did the same. They destroyed their old central banks and they annulled their old currencies. And they created a common central bank known as the ECB, the European Central Bank, the ECB, the European Central Bank, the ECB, the European Central Bank, the ECB, the European Central Bank. And they created a common currency known as the euro. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all of it, and all that public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all of it, we're going to convert it to US dollar, and that money is going to be the initial money supply, the initial money supply, the initial money supply, the initial money supply for a new central bank, the initial money supply for a new central bank, the initial money supply for a new central bank. All the money, all the public and the private bank debt, all the PPP, public and the private debt, is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank, for a new central bank. All of it. So all the public private debt is going to be the initial money supply for a new, for the creation of a new money, which we're going to call the UE. So all the debt, public and private, converted to US dollars, is going to be the initial money supply or the money in circulation. Finance this new bank. We're going to issue a new currency based on the value of the US dollar, which we're going to call the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The three appellation. If you want the acronym, the UE, the UE, the UE. U universal, E exchange, U unit. The universal exchange unit, the UE, the UE, the UE, based on the value of the US dollar, based on the value of the US dollar, based on the value of the US dollar, based on the value of the US dollar. So all the debt, public and private, is going to be the initial money supply. With that money, we're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure of the North American Collective, build 44 tunnels across North America in case of a thermonuclear war, build, construct 44 tunnels inspired by the Montreal village, by the Montreal village, Montreal Underground village, by the Montreal Underground village, by the Montreal Underground village. Gonna build 44 tunnels, 44 tunnels underground. In case of a thermonuclear war, we're gonna build 44 tunnels underground. In case of a thermonuclear war, inspired by the Montreal Underground village. For those 44 tunnels, in case of a thermonuclear war, this is based on one of my papers, documents as a philosopher, geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist. I've written many documents relating to geopolitics and public-private partnership initiatives, and one was for the safeguarding, constituting safeguarding the continuity of the North American civilizational complex in case of a thermonuclear war, in case of a thermonuclear war, in case of a thermonuclear war, in case of a thermonuclear war. So we need to build those tunnels, build the infrastructure, finance. We're gonna mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise. We're gonna mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, as I'm working on now with a big backpack, big cans in it, switching left and right, getting some of those drills, and yeah, I'm getting some sweat because I got maybe an extra layer now. I got an extra layer, so we're gonna mass finance citizens to work out, mass finance tourism, because when I crossed Canada coast to coast, that event in 2017 changed my life. Prior to that event, I was depressed, suicidal, and I had a revelation when I crossed Canada coast to coast, and that made me establish a strong esprit de corps, a strong esprit de corps, a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, strong esprit de corps, with my fellow Canadians, with my fellow Canadians, with my fellow Canadians, strong esprit de corps, and of course, our family, Quebecers, Canadians, North Americans, I consider y'all family, I consider y'all family, so we need to implement that DRT, the debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, The universal exchange, it's a must. It has to be implemented. There's no other way. You can argue all you want, but there's no other way. So there's no way around it now. That's where we are with that, and that's what it is, and that's how we're gonna go get it on the go. So the DRT, Directional Fusion Theory, for the creation of the UE, universal exchange, and we're gonna be able to do lots of things with the new Directional Fusion Theory rebuild and implementation of Operation Northern Scorpio, based on my total mobile defense theory, which I'm not going to go into it because in terms of national security, and I got past collaborations with CSIS, RCMP, so it's past in the past, so got to do it for today, collaborations with CSIS, and we got to get the new 911 protocols for security servers and defense, the new 21st century 911 protocols reflecting the realities of today, the new 911 protocols reflecting the realities of today, reflecting the realities of today. So here we are, North Americans unite. With the French language, we got to make an effort. We made the great linguistic compromise, the beauty here in North America, that we're able to have peace and non-sectarianism, non-sectarian violence, and I do not like violence. I do not like violence. I do not like violence. Aggression needs to be channeled in sportsmanship. That's why we need to build on the Canadian-U.S. border, on the Canadian-U.S. border, on the Canadian-U.S. border. On the Canadian-U.S. border, we need to build the public-private partnership, the North America People's Imperial Coliseum, and give the public workers some tickets, establish works and athletics for the public works, because it takes a public-private partnership. And in the Forgotten Goddess Temple, which I laid accreditation, credit trillions of kisses, put trillions of kisses for the foundation thereof, and hey, look at that red nose on the reindeer. Gotta go for the freeze and for the dough. Hey, for the rock and roll, Santa coming and knocking at your door. Rock and roll, I sing it for the train conductors. And those butchers and the DRT gotta be implemented. And the cooks and the lovers and the butchers and those swing your hips. Coast to coast up into this. That's the Santa, that's dismissed. That's a loving song for me, for you, for us. That's really going louder. Louder, that's we're getting the crowd. Where the crowd. That the rainbow dragon singing. That's the melody, you miss it. That's the melody, you hiss it. Hiss it, I love snakes, I kiss it. Hiss it, I love snakes, I kisses. I hisses. I love snakes, I kisses. Rainbow dragon, black and white with it. And my brothers and sisters, blacks, black women, black men, So we are to fight racism, I'd offer everybody else, but I offer the same to North Americans. Kisses first, that's what I got. Some hugs and play sports, fitness together. And money I don't have to finance, but I would definitely, if I would have had 44 billion, I would have not been that selfish in these tough economic times for millions, hundreds of millions across North America. Literally. Tough economic, financial, commercial times. Literally, Canadians were 40 plus million. In the United States, more than 335 million, right? So literally for hundreds of millions of North Americans, the situation is very parallel, struggling and debt, paying lots of interest. Not for all, because we have millionaires and billionaires, but hey, my brothers and sisters, unable to make millions and billions is also the workers, We're citizen consumers, consuming citizens. I enjoy bacon, I don't pretend. I don't like sweets, I love sweets. I love chocolates. I love wafers. I love, once in a while, a good wine. I do not pretend to, although I live an austere, severe, highly active lifestyle, rock and roll lifestyle, I do not deprive myself, and I love coffee, but gotta be grateful that I got instant coffee, so it's financially struggling, but Quebec, Canada is all I know. Quebec, Canada is all I know. Past lives and incarnations. When I go on the mountain at the top, I get those flashes when I was born here even before 1535, and across the ages from the building of the pyramids. I don't know how they were built, but I always joke. I say probably the pyramids were, men can't figure out why the pyramids were built, because they were built by women. So men can't figure out how the pyramids were built because they were built by women. Men can figure out how pyramids were built because they were built by women. So here I am with my scars, my retrograde amnesia, blackout of memory of my early childhood. And I remember just moving, and I have a high school diploma from years ago, 2023 I believe, so well, more than 2 decades from here from Quebec, Canada high school. So nice blackouts of memories, you know. But I remember mostly past 7+ years, and my work as a geopolitical theoretical analyst in theories, which is the fundamental thing, and the fundamental is the initiatives, the energy, the love, the passion that I put for my initiatives as a philosopher, artist, athlete, independent geopolitical theoretical analyst, and mystic as well. I want to be Telemite. Bury me with Papa Crowley up in New Jersey. Want to be Telemite. Bury me with Papa Crowley up in New Jersey, who's now on the sore side a bit. Gotta twist a bit for the back, you know. Gotta twist a bit. Always good to twist, especially when you're carrying that backpack. You know, I gotta get that hydration. I'm gonna hydrate when I reach the top, and when I reach the top, it's gonna be switching. Gotta switch it a bit to that French, but again, the DRT, death fusion theory, is the only solution. There's no solution now, and snow stopped. Auctioning everything that I'm wearing, auctioning everything that I'm wearing, auctioning everything that I'm wearing. 93% of everything that I own, which is, you know, to give to my anonymous friend, you know, to give to my anonymous friend, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, and we gotta get doing on the go, you know. So it's something which we gotta be thinking about and meditating, you know. Always meditating on the North American civilizational complex, and let's get that North American collective workers' party. Let's get that North American collective workers' party. Auctioning this scarf for $1 million. Gonna give 50%, aka half, to my anonymous friend, and let's build together the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border, parallel to the Forgotten Goddess Temple. The North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, and the North American People's Imperial Coliseum is something which I will to build, you know. Yeah, that's my dream, you know. The Forgotten Goddess, DODDSS Temple, you know. And I got some scripture writing on the goddess, and the goddess is in the Bible. It's just that it's in those lines, in between those lines, it's covered, and you see mention of Artemis in what's called the New Testament, and you can see mention of the goddess in the Old Testament, as I mentioned yesterday in my coffee with dragons. So that's how we gotta meditate. And you know, if I say, you know, with all the karma, whatever, the sufferings, the struggle, the scars, the suffering, the struggle, the scars, all the scars, the suffering, the struggles, and my financial stress now, a lot of S's, stress, suffering, scars. I'm joyous, you know, and I do say the word goddess, G-O-D-D-S-S, so be ready if you say God bless. I'm going to say goddess bless. Kisses I got by the trillions, kisses I got by the trillions, laying the foundation for the Forgotten Goddess Temple with trillions of kisses. This rainbow dragon, tiny micro clit dick, 2-in-1 androgynous pansexual, who is a great geopolitical analyst and theorist regardless. And you know, I'm only looking for friends with benefits now. Friends with benefits. Pledge your allegiance, legions. Pledge your allegiance, legions. Pledge your allegiance. And I always admire beautiful trees, you know. Beautiful trees there with the lights. I gotta give a shout out to Hydro-Quebec, and you know, that's what it is. And my neurodivergence, I always gotta be meditating, you know. I always gotta be meditating to get it on the do, you know. So as I go all the way to the top, it's a long march from my place, but I've been doing it for years and years and years. I've been doing it for years in past lives, many incarnations, many past lives, you know. I've been doing it for many past lives, many incarnations, you know. That's what it is with that, and I'm gonna try to get the lights I got 11 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. It's still green. It's still green. Yellow. Oh, it's gonna turn yellow now. And the other one? The other one is not. 3 seconds. I'm not gonna have enough time. I'm not gonna rush. But anyways, here we are at the base of the mountain. And grateful, thankful. Rent spade, electricity bill spade, and some LOV. Always for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, and all involved in the production, distribution of food, you know. Gotta get it on the mountain now. Tomorrow, my second home, it's starting to snow again. Just gonna show this beautiful architecture. Look at that. Look at the beautiful architecture. Isn't it beautiful? Just painted red, we can make it the headquarters or the Dragon Army Public-Private Partnership, calling for the 2 complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the Dragon Army, North American Citizen Integrated Security Service and Defense Force, only for security service and defense, only for security service and defense, and Dancing Goddess Army, the DGA, North American Integrated Dance League, the DGA, North American Integrated Dance League, the DGA, North American Integrated Dance League, Rainbow Dragon, AK Priestess, Hana, Telemites, Unite. Gotta get it for those Aspies. You know, that's why we gotta get it for those Aspies, and we gotta get it for the LOV, Perry Mill, Public Rally, up in New Jersey, you know. A third of me up in New Jersey, Hampton, and a third of me up in Mount Royal, a third of me up in Mount Royal, a third of me up in Mount Royal, you know. That's what we gotta get doing with that, and that's what we gotta be on the mindfulness. Big metropolis island city, Montreal. HAWK, Hawk Island. Look at the beautiful building. I love the architecture. Love the architecture, love the architecture. Somebody told me that it resembles the Vlad the Impaler's place. Vlad the Impaler's old place. Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler. I don't know about that. But anyways, here we are. If anybody want to finance, I go up and down these stairs. Go up and down these stairs. 300 times, Dragon versus Trump. Still challenging Donald Trump. Thank you to my anonymous friend. I'm gonna ask to marry again. Soon, 40-day Rite beginning on the 25th. The last 40-day Rite. And if anybody want to finance, I go up and down these stairs 300 times. We'll rock and roll. Blah, 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 blah. For the kingdom, the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom, is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. Be careful if you come here. Now we're going to switch to the French, because we're in la belle province. Et on est rendu, on est sur la montagne, le Mont-Royal. Ma deuxième maison, c'est 23 décembre. Eh oui, je vous encourage à faire de l'entraînement physique québécoise avec une chanson, puis pour en faire de l'amour, de l'espace, et bien sûr, pour en faire de l'amour dans l'espace. Maintenant que je vous invite tous et toutes de faire de l'amour et la gratitude. Je vis un stress financier, mais j'ai un sac à dos avec un couple de canettes, des canettes de pois, de maïs et d'autres légumes pour le temps des fêtes. On est le 23 décembre. Merci pour le don, comme au début de la vidéo quand j'ai filmé dans le don, les frigidaires chez nous à Montréal. La sécurité alimentaire commence avec les producteurs qui produisent les aliments. Dans les champs de patates ou dans les îles de la Madeleine ou plutôt proche de Montréal à 44 km, qui font des produits comme les courges, amour puis santé ou les infirmiers, les infirmières, et ça fasse pour les bouchers que ça donne pour en faire. Ici puis qu'en face, bien sûr, dans l'entraînement physique que je vous encourage, ça fait du bien. Et donc, je dois saluer les travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec du passé du 20e siècle qui ont bâti des centrales pour qu'on puisse avoir de la lumière. Ma deuxième maison, le Mont-Royal. Donc, je suis présent après avoir marché plus que 2 heures parce que j'ai commencé à filmer après que suis sorti de chez nous, plus qu'une heure et demie. Puis là, j'ai fait plus que 13,3 km de vidéo. Fait que je vous ai montré un peu de me rendre. Ça me donne à peu près 66 minutes et 44 secondes. 66 minutes et 44 secondes. 66 minutes et 44 secondes. Donc plus d'une heure de marche militaire. Marche style dragon. Avec des pas quand même. Des pas solides. Mais j'ai un sac à dos quand même solide sur le dos. Fait que ça fait que j'ai de quoi de plein de sac, c'est plus que 45 livres avec les gants de boxe, car vous savez que je vais continuer à faire appel pour combattre Donald Trump dans un combat de boxe sur la frontière canado-états-unienne, puis je le fais depuis 2018. Bon, avant que je commence dans la géopolitique, votre artiste, athlète, philosophe avec Asperger, aussi connu comme l'autiste totalement fonctionnel, qui n'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est une condition de neurodivergence, laquelle je dois faire la gestion de mes caractéristiques qui semblent qu'ils sont un peu dans le bizarre. Dans le bizarre, mais c'est juste que j'ai des intérêts intenses, des intérêts spéciaux qu'on appelle, que les neurotypiques qualifient comme neuro, comme obsessif, mais pour nous les aspis, c'est juste nos intérêts qu'on est super concentrés et intenses. Comme quand je fais l'entraînement physique, ma marche, méditation de rock'n'roll, la géopolitique, c'est 24/24. La géopolitique, l'entraînement physique, le conditionnement physique, l'entraînement physique que je préfère, c'est la danse. La danse, bien sûr, avec l'entraînement physique que je préfère, c'est la danse. Le sport que je préfère, c'est la danse, puis bien sûr, le sport que je préfère, c'est la danse, puis avec le rock'n'roll. Et donc, on est rentré sur la montagne et avec la gratitude, j'ai payé mon loyer pour le mois de décembre. On est le 23 décembre. Alors que je paye dans 8 jours, 8-9 jours. Alors que je le paye pour le mois de janvier. Mais pour le mois de décembre, j'ai payé mon loyer à l'Hydro-Québec. Pour le mois de décembre, j'ai payé la facture d'électricité, une autre facture qui doit être payée le 3 janvier, jusqu'au 3 janvier. Je vais payer dès le 1er, mais pour que ça ait payé dès le 3 janvier. J'ai jamais, depuis plus que 7 ans, j'habite là-bas. J'ai jamais pas payé mon loyer. J'ai jamais pas payé ma facture d'électricité. Puis même maintenant, je vis un stress financier. Mais je vis une crise financière, un stress financier, mais j'ai de quoi me nourrir. J'ai des canettes. Il y a eu des dons qui me suis fait, je me suis fait des dons. Puis là, il y a bien sûr un patinage que vous pouvez vous patiner bien sûr, sur le patinoire, pour le patinoire, bien sûr, pour le faire là-bas, qui est là, le patinoire, bien sûr, le gros patinoire, le lac du Castor. Ça, c'est le lac du Castor. D'habitude, il y a bien de monde, mais je vois qu'il y a du monde déjà l'hiver qui font de la glissade, fait que vous pouvez venir faire de la glissade ici, tout en sécurité, tout en beauté, puis si ça vous intéresse, mais c'est quelque chose que je vous encourage, comme là-bas, vous voyez, ils font du patinage, bien sûr, c'est du patinage, bien sûr qu'il faut, du patinage là-bas, en cercle. Oh ouais, il y a bien du monde, et vous faites bien d'avoir venu, pas de patin, moi, là, pour patiner, mais quand même, c'est quelque chose que j'aime venir, même l'hiver, mais là, il y a bien du monde là-bas, sur le patinoire, ça patine, le 23 décembre, ici, chez nous, c'est la montagne, puis moi, j'aime l'hiver, j'aime les 4 saisons, j'aime l'été, j'aime le printemps, l'hiver, le froid, ça me dérange vraiment pas. L'hiver, je viens ici de toute manière, même que dans d'autres vies. Des fois, j'étais né homme. Des fois, j'étais né femme. Des fois, j'étais né homme. Des fois, j'étais né femme. Des fois, j'étais... Maintenant, vous savez, là, messieurs, madame, dragon arc-en-ciel, messieurs, madame, 50-50. Mais dans d'autres vies, j'étais né femme. J'étais né homme. J'étais né homme. Homme-femme. Maintenant, ben, je suis androgyne. C'est pas, tu sais, plus que deux genres, là, tu sais. Moi, je suis androgyne. 50-50. Et bien sûr, c'est des choses qui sont comme ça, bien sûr. Et voilà. Maintenant, il faut que je fasse attention pour ne pas que ça glisse, pour ne pas que ça glisse, pour ne pas que ça glisse. Parce que ça peut glisser, bien sûr. Pour ça, faire ça, bien sûr. L'entraînement physique que je vous encourage, puis j'ai commencé mon entraînement physique, mon conditionnement physique quand je suis sorti de ma dépression. J'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire, puis en 2017, j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. Il y a plus que 7 ans, là. En août 2017, en août et en septembre 2017, j'ai traversé le Canada, et cet événement, ça m'a fait vraiment sortir de la dépression. Ça m'a fait sortir de la dépression. J'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire. C'était un événement qui a complètement changé ma vie. Ça, j'encourage, puis je fais appel au financement des gens qui circulent, qui fassent du tourisme. Tellement de choses à voir. Je me suis dit, j'ai un réveil. En traversant le Canada, en 2017, j'ai établi un esprit de corps solide. Avec le Québec, le Canada, j'ai établi un esprit de corps solide. Avec le Québec, le Canada, j'ai établi un esprit de corps solide. Avec le Québec, le Canada. Un esprit de corps solide. Avec le Québec, le Canada. En 2017. Vous êtes ma famille, veut pas. Des fois, on est dysfonctionnel. On a des choses qu'on peut se faire mieux. Moi-même, avec mon neurodivergence, l'Asperger, je suis connu comme l'autisme hautement fonctionnel. Ben, j'ai eu mes souffrances, j'ai eu mes luttes, j'ai eu de l'emploi, j'aurais aimé garder, mais ça a été quand même pendant une couple de semaines, pendant un couple de mois, parce qu'il y a quand même des malcompréhensions, des malentendus vis-à-vis de la condition de neurodivergence, et on peut offenser les gens, puis c'est pas qu'on veut offenser, c'est que dans certaines choses, des fois, on peut être direct dans nos réponses, puis on peut être mal compris. C'est pas parce que les Aspergers ont vu offenser les gens, c'est pas ça. Il faut la patience, puis la patience, puis la compréhension. C'est que notre condition de neurodivergence, ça fait que on est moins capable dans certaines choses, on est moins capable. Je suis moins capable dans certaines choses que dans d'autres choses, comme je suis bon dans la géopolitique. Au point de vue que c'est 24/24 l'étude de l'analyse en géopolitique chez nous. Puis même maintenant, je mets dans un contexte de géopolitique. Maintenant, je fais des révisions dans ma tête. C'est constamment. C'est 24/24. Les intérêts qu'on appelle obsessifs, que nous, les aspirs, on a des intérêts spéciaux, que les autres, vous appelez ça comme des intérêts obsessifs. Oui, ça peut paraître comme une obsession, mais nous, on voit pas ça négatif. C'est parce qu'on est dans notre monde. Puis c'est ça qu'on est tellement dedans, tellement concentré dans nos intérêts spéciaux, tu sais, dans nos intérêts spéciaux. Fait que c'est la géopolitique pour moi-même, l'entraînement physique, le sport, la danse. Et mon sport préféré, l'entraînement physique que je préfère, c'est la danse, le sport et le rock'n'roll. Et le rock'n'roll avec ça, rock'n'roll avec ça, rock'n'roll avec ça, rock'n'roll avec ça. C'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse nous-mêmes, tu sais. Puis maintenant, je suis joyeux, je suis de bonne humeur. Ça fait comme... J'étais en dépression avant 2017. J'ai traversé le Canada, ça m'a complètement changé ma vie. J'étais en stress financier, oui. J'étais en stress financier, mais je suis de retour chez nous, j'ai de la nourriture. J'ai de quoi me nourrir. Puis je suis de retour, dès que je suis de retour dans ma grotte après l'entraînement physique, c'est la géopolitique, le rock'n'roll. C'est ça qui se passe avec moi, qui est la Sainte Trinité. La Trinité, là, pour moi-même, c'est la géopolitique. L'entraînement physique, le sport, c'est une chose, là. L'entraînement physique et le sport, ça fait partie du fitness, avec la danse aussi. Et le rock'n'roll. Et fait que c'est bien sûr des choses comme ça que je dois mettre moi-même dans les circonstances de la vie. Bien sûr, maintenant, c'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse. Et des choses qu'il faut qu'on y pense toujours, tu sais. Toujours. La manière de divergence vis-à-vis d'être bizarre dans certaines choses. Puis oui, absolument. Puis j'ai des cicatrices, j'ai souffert à cause de ça, mais maintenant je vis avec, puis je suis joyeux. Je vis juste une crise financière, mais je suis ouvert pour l'emploi. Le rock'n'roll, j'en crée des chansons au quotidien. J'adore le rock'n'roll, c'est un de mes intérêts spéciaux. Et j'en compose en mode libre. Vous pouvez écouter centaines de chansons des centaines de chansons, de rock'n'roll, des centaines de vidéos. Tu sais, l'humour, la comédie, en tant qu'artiste, mais je peux en faire un couple. Je peux en faire un couple parce que ça soit, mais c'est des choses qu'il faut que je pense à moi-même, tu sais. Fait que c'est ça. Fait que là, je veux retourner en arrière un peu en 2019. En 2019. Fait que là, en 2019, j'ai fait une révision de la géopolitique annuelle en octobre puis en novembre. Puis c'est l'année, bien sûr, que j'avais conclu que l'humanité se rend, bien sûr, s'en va vers une conflagration internationale. C'est là que j'avais décidé, bien sûr, que l'humanité s'en va dans une conflagration internationale. En 2019. Parce que ça, c'est l'intérêt obsessif. Juste attendre pour passer plus loin, pour pas déranger les citoyens avec une manière de divergence, là. Vous êtes là. Oui. C'est tout. C'est tout. C'est tout. Et voilà. Je ne vais pas les déranger, les citoyens, tu sais, parce que des fois, je parle des sujets un peu aussi qui sont pour mon intérêt, mais là, on est rendu sur la montagne, là. On est rendu sur la montagne. Là, vous pouvez voir la ville un peu, là, mais c'est quand même la ville là, qu'on voit, mais en tout cas, fait que, la condition de la ville, on voit pas si bien, mais ça, c'est le Montréal, là. C'est mon gratte-ciel préféré qui est là, la pyramide en blanc, puis en rouge, puis en vert, la pyramide que je préfère, en rouge, en blanc, puis en vert, la pyramide que je préfère, c'est en blanc, en blanc, en rouge, bien sûr. C'est des choses comme ça, bien sûr. Eh bien, on est rendu sur la montagne, et voilà. Regardez qu'on en fasse. Et voilà. Ici, on est rendu sur la montagne, sur le bêche, et voilà. Et là, je vais discuter la TRD. C'est super important que je discute la TRD avant que je finisse cette vidéo, parce que je veux pas que ça soit trop long, là, mais on est au sommet de la montagne. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Ben, chers Québécois et Québécoises, ben, c'est la seule solution. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution en ce moment où on est rendu avec les finances publiques. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution ici sur le sommet de la montagne. Puis c'est un paradoxe que ça sort de ma tête. Que j'ai l'intérêt obsessif, aussi connu comme l'intérêt, j'aime pas ça appeler l'intérêt obsessif, mais l'intérêt spécial, c'est la géopolitique. Et donc, c'est la géopolitique qu'il faut qu'on soit. C'est la géopolitique, bien sûr, qu'il faut qu'on soit nous-mêmes. C'est des choses, bien sûr, qu'il faut qu'on fasse attention. Il faut que je me tire la tête. Bien sûr, il faut que je m'étire un peu, je m'étire un peu. Et bien sûr, ici, sur la montagne, mais c'est des choses qu'il faut que je fasse moi-même, tu sais. De l'intérêt public, c'est dans tout l'intérêt des Québécois et Québécoises, puis des Nord-Américains. Parce que je veux construire sur la frontière Canada-États-Unienne le temple du peuple, le palais du peuple impérial, le colisée du peuple nord-américain 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 impérial et le temple de la déesse. Oubliez le temple de la déesse. Oubliez le temple de la déesse. Oubliez. C'est ça que je veux bâtir. Avec la maison du dragon en rouge, écarlate, la maison du dragon. Et je vais prendre le chemin dedans ici. Je vous conseille pas de prendre ce chemin si vous connaissez pas la montagne, mais moi, ça fait longtemps que je la connais, puis dans cette vie, puis dans une autre, puis j'ai mes flashs lumière de l'incarnation, souvent quand je vis ici. Puis je commence à chanter du rock'n'roll, puis je suis joyeux ici. Ça me donne une pile que je viens de la civilisation, puis la civilisation, c'est un privilège, puis quand je rentre dans la forêt, je la connais, la forêt, puis je me soumets à la loi de la nature, puis bien sûr, je fais mes méditations spirituelles, puis la géopolitique, j'ai mes réincarnations, les mémoires de réincarnation. Et j'étais né québécoise. Québécois, j'ai rencontré Louis Cyr aussi dans une autre vie. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Ma TRD, c'est la seule et unique solution en ce moment pour les finances publiques. Pourquoi je me prononce ainsi? C'est juste au cas où que là, on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. On paye 46,5 milliards sur la dette publique. On paye 46. Je m'étire un peu de la gauche à droite pour le dos, là. On paye 46,5 milliards sur la dette publique. 46,5 milliards sur la dette publique, c'est le montant qu'on paye sur la dette publique là, canadienne. En 2020-2021, le montant était de 20,3. Le montant était de 20,3. Le montant était de 20,3. 20,3 fois 2, ça aurait été 40,6. 20,3 fois 2, ça aurait été 40,6. 20,3 milliards qu'on payait en 2020-2021. Ça a plus que doublé, là. 2020, 2 fois 2, 20,3 milliards fois 2. C'est 40,6. 40,6, 40,6. Fait que c'est 40,6 Fait que là, c'est rendu 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. Fait qu'il n'y a pas d'autre solution qu'un paradoxe, que ma TRDT, théorie, R, refusion, D de la dette, la TRD, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, qui inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire. La théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est la théorie qui a été implémentée dans les Européens en Europe. Les Allemands ont détruit leur banque centrale nationale, les Français aussi, les Italiens, plusieurs pays de l'Europe, l'Union européenne. Ils ont détruit leur banque centrale. Ils ont fait la création d'une banque centrale commune, supranationale, la Banque centrale de l'Europe, et la création d'une monnaie commune, l'euro. Donc nous, on va faire pareil. Parce que dans ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, qui est la seule solution, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Donc, dans cette théorie est contenue la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Dans ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Dans cette théorie est contenue la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Et donc, on va prendre toute la dette. Je vous l'explique maintenant, encore une fois, pourquoi je dis que c'est la seule et unique solution. Car on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. À cause de la COVID, c'est sûr, le montant d'intérêt sur la dette publique canadienne a plus que doublé. Là. Parce qu'en 2020-2021, c'était 20,3 milliards. 1 milliard, c'est 9 zéros, ça c'est 20 000 millions. Fait que 20,3 fois 2, ça aurait été 40,6. C'est rendu 46,5 milliards. C'est sûr, à cause de la COVID, moi-même, j'ai survécu la COVID. J'étais malade, je pensais que j'allais mourir. J'étais malade, je pensais que j'allais mourir. Et donc, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée. On va faire une refusion. Toute la dette publique-privée. On va faire une refusion. Donc, toute la dette publique-privée. Ici, on peut bâtir la pyramide. La maison du dragon. En rouge, écarlate, c'est rouge. Et bien sûr, là, ça a plus que doublé la dette qu'on paye. Fait que la TRD, théorie de la revision de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution. On va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000 à la Banque royale de dette, de côte à côte, tous les citoyens et citoyennes, toute la dette publique-privée, on va convertir dans devise des États-Unis. On va faire la conversion de toute la dette publique canadienne, parce qu'il faut faire l'implémentation premièrement au Canada, après ça, binational en même temps, implémentation en même temps avec États-Unis-Canada, et bien sûr, au Canada premièrement, puis après ça, l'Amérique du Nord, la Jamaïque, l'Haïti, Cuba, c'est un paradoxe, mais ils font partie de l'Amérique du Nord. Donc, toute la dette publique-privée, on la ramasse ensemble. Toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire une refusion. Toute cette dette-là, public-privé, on va faire une refusion. Tout ça, on va mettre ensemble. Tout cet argent-là, on va mettre ensemble. Tout cet argent-là, toute la dette publique-privée pour la fondation des nouvelles banques. Toute la dette publique-privée, on va mettre ensemble pour la création d'une nouvelle monnaie. Qu'on va appeler Louis. Donc, toute la dette publique-privée convertie dans la devise des États-Unis, ça va être l'argent initial en circulation, de l'argent pour fonder cette nouvelle banque. Toute la dette publique-privée canadienne, états-unienne, toute l'Amérique du Nord ensemble. Premièrement, au Canada, il faut le faire parce qu'on est en veille d'avoir une catastrophe financière publique là, dès la première semaine de janvier, dès février. Dès février, c'est possible. Donc, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000, de côte à côte. Tout cet argent-là, ça va fonder une nouvelle banque. On va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie qu'on va appeler Louis, basée sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis, parce qu'on va convertir toute la dette publique-privée canadienne dans la devise des États-Unis. Louis, on va faire la création de Louis, une unité d'échange comme qu'ils ont fait en Europe. La création de l'euro. Ils ont détruit leur banque centrale. Ils ont fait la création d'une nouvelle banque centrale. On va faire exactement avec spécial la refusion de la dette dedans, la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée, ça a fondé l'argent pour les nouvelles banques. Tout cet argent-là, on va faire la création d'une nouvelle dette, une nouvelle monnaie. Le Louis, U point unité, un point échange, U point universel. U point unité, un point échange, U point universel. Le U point unité, un point échange, U point universel. U point unité, un point échange, U point universel. L'unité d'échange universelle. Le UI. Le UI. Unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. Fait que tout cet argent-là, ça va faire l'argent en circulation initiale. Toute la dette publique privée, on va créer cette nouvelle monnaie, l'UI. On ne s'obstinera pas parce qu'en anglais, c'est pareil. Ça va être un UI, deux UI. Avec cet argent-là, on va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure du Québec, du Canada, des États-Unis, de l'Amérique du Nord, bâtir 44 tunnels dans le cadre d'une guerre thermonucléaire, 44 tunnels construits de bâtir, basés sur le mode de Montréal, inspiré bien sûr par de Montréal, par le fait de Montréal, inspiré bien sûr par le Rite de Montréal. On va pouvoir bâtir des centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, financer les gens à faire l'entraînement physique, financer le tourisme, bâtir d'autres centrales, bien sûr. On va bâtir d'autres centrales d'Hydro-Québec, rebâtir l'infrastructure du Québec, du Canada, des États-Unis, financer les gens à faire l'entraînement physique, finançons mon entraînement physique que je vais créer moi-même en 2019, qui ne requiert aucun équipement, financer les gens au tourisme à travers le collectif nord-américain, à travers l'Amérique du Nord, parce que ça fait du bien pour le moral. On va pouvoir bien faire des choses pour la défense. L'implémentation de ma trinité de théorie va avec ça, la théorie d'intégration citoyenne parallèlement, avec l'opération Scorpion du Nord, parallèlement et vis-à-vis pour les nouveaux protocoles, juste pour la défense, la sécurité puis le service, juste pour la défense, la sécurité puis le service, juste pour la défense, la sécurité puis le service, juste pour la défense, la sécurité puis le service. D'ici du Mont-Royal, je vous présente une bénédiction, puis j'ai été maudit, j'ai souffert à cause de l'Asperger's, l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, tu sais. Ça a été tellement m'empêché d'avoir mangé bien de l'emploi, bien des travaux dans différentes industries, mais ça a été comme une couple de semaines, une couple de mois, puis j'ai été souffert, mais bien sûr, maintenant, je vous mets sur la table la TRD, avec des milliards de bisous, des châteaux, puis ben du rock'n'roll. La TRD, c'est la seule et unique solution. Il faut faire l'implémentation de la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Vous pouvez vous ostiner tant que vous voudriez, mais il n'y a pas d'autre solution, mes chers. C'est la seule et unique solution en ce moment où on est rendu à payer 46,5 milliards. Vous vous réveillez que c'est possible que dès la première semaine de janvier 2025, il y a un effondrement des finances publiques canadiennes. On ne pourra plus payer rien des services publics, là. Sécurité publique, pompiers, tous les services publics, un effondrement des finances. C'est possible là, qu'il y ait un effondrement du système financier public canadien à cause de ça. C'est sur l'horizon, pas dire alarmiste, mais à cause de. Ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans, là, de 20,3 milliards. C'est allé à 46,5 milliards. Sur mes mathématiques, tu peux pas être un expert, je ne dois pas être un expert, mais tu dois le voir tout de suite que ça a plus que doublé. Juste l'intérêt qu'on paye. L'intérêt, pas de la dette, là, c'est l'intérêt, comme si vous payez le double de ce que vous avez payé. De 156, c'est allé à 333. Comme mettons, de 156, c'est allé à 333. De 156, c'est allé à 333. C'est ça qui est arrivé, dans le fond. C'est comme si vous aurez payé d'intérêt en 2020, 156, puis là, vous arrivez à payer 333. Vous avez quoi à payer? Vous n'avez pas payé la facture d'électricité, vous avez coupé dans votre budget, ben on ne pourra plus payer les services publics. Les prisons, les services publics de sécurité publique, tout ça, c'est des services publics, ça. La SPVM, la GRC, tout ça, c'est les finances publiques canadiennes, là. C'est pas une blague, je dis. C'est quand même, je dis, c'est la solution, c'est la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Le roi est absent. Il n'y a pas de roi. Il est absent. C'est le temps pour la République. La République puis l'Union, par un passeport, puis par faisant un consensus de tous ceux qui habitent en Amérique du Nord, au Canada, au Québec. Un consensus de tous ceux qui habitent au Québec, au Canada. C'est le temps pour un consensus, pour un passeport commun, puis pour une monnaie commune. Le oui. On va faire du bien avec ça. C'est la seule solution. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution, mes chers. Vous pouvez vous ostiner tant que vous voudriez, mais la solution, il n'y a pas de solution. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Mais non, je marche dans la neige, là, mais un peu, je dois le dire moi-même, tu sais. Parce qu'il n'y a pas d'autre solution quand même. C'est si il y en aurait une autre. Faire un vol à la mienne, c'est quelque chose de similaire, en tout cas. C'est quelque chose de similaire qui va répondre quand même dans certaines circonstances à cette situation d'urgence qu'on vit financière publique. Là. La TRD, c'est la seule et unique solution. Je m'en dirige chez nous maintenant parce que je commence à avoir faim. Puis je suis venu, ma deuxième maison ici, le Mont-Royal, ma deuxième maison ici sur le Mont-Royal. Fait que là, je vous laisse avec du rock'n'roll bilingue, méditer sur la TRD. Je vous salue, artiste athlète. Je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique. Puis la gratitude, c'est bon peut-être parce que, tu sais, c'est tellement de choses qu'on a un privilège. C'est juste méditer, là, juste pour avoir la lumière, puis moi-même que je fasse cette vidéo. Tout le travail de l'Hydro-Québec qui a été fait au 20e siècle. L'Hydro-Québec, les travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec qui ont fait au 20e siècle. L'électricité, les camions, camionneurs, les chauffeurs d'autobus dans les boulangers, les boulangeries, les électriciens, les plombiers, les travailleurs en construction qui ont bâti toute l'infrastructure du Québec, des États-Unis. Ça prend un parti collectif nord-américain. Ça prend un parti travail collectif nord-américain. Let's go ensemble. Ça prend un parti travail nord-américain. Let's go ensemble. Pour le collectif nord-américain. Pour le collectif nord-américain. Pour le collectif nord-américain. C'est sûr, pour le collectif nord-américain. Il faut établir, bien sûr, pour l'Amérique du Nord, le collectif nord-américain qu'on constitue nous-mêmes. On est un collectif de civilisation, c'est sûr. Puis là, je vais chanter un peu de rock'n'roll en bilingue, que ce soit Let's go! On est sur la montagne en double. We gotta go in for that rock and roll. We gotta go in for we gotta go in for the XYZ. For the left and the right and the black and the white and the rainbow. Et pour la droite et pour la gauche. Pour que ça soit bien sûr le mur. Pour que ça soit bien sûr la dure. Du coup dur, que ça soit dans la montagne. Regarde, let's go. For that bilingual rock and roll, you know I go up and down. On the mountain, that's the frown. That's the snow, I dance in it. I dance up in the snow, I dance up in the blow. I dance up in the so you know. I dance up in the so you go. I dance up in the so you blow. So you know up in the go, let's go. For the go up in the go, let's know. No, snow. I gotta give it for the truckers and the butchers and the bakers and the nurses and the doctors. I gotta give it for the butchers, the butchers. The nurses and the doctors. That's 24/7 rainbow, dragon aspie. Got a nasty, gotta play it for the rock and roll. You say that's those satellites up in the sky. That's the satellites up in the sky. That's the Skynet that I built in a parallel life. What I said to tech now. Gotta give it for the goal. Gotta give it for the poster. Gotta give it for the bow. Somebody booting up. Let's go with that booty. That's what's up. I got a rainbow dragon booty for generals only. Black and white though. Black and white and rainbow. But for those generals only though. I sing that rock and roll. Puis je chante sans cesse sur la montagne. Dans la deuxième maison que je regarde ça danser dans la neige. Québécois, on ensemble, on va pouvoir bouger les montagnes. Le 44, 44, 44. Quasiment 45 pour ça chauffe. Qu'on ouvre. Pour que ça soit bien sûr du rock and roll. La mouille, ça mouille. C'est du sirop d'érable que ça coule et ça danse. Ça belle, les provinces, puis ça soit dans cette région, regarde, les îles de la Madeleine, que ça coude, les arbres, ça coude ensemble, ça mouille. Les travailleurs camionneurs, la belle province, c'est là, c'est le travail public qui change les accueils, qui sont les mouilles. Merci pour avoir ramassé la poubelle. Mais regarde, let's go for that rock and roll. You know, that's the go, we go. For the left and for the right, that's we're gonna play those dice. I don't gamble, but I kisses. Kisses with a snake, you listen. Gotta give it for that woo, gotta give it for me and you. Gotta give it for the double, gotta give it for the trouble. Got the left and right side of butter. Gotta go for the yo, gotta get it for the dough. Gotta get it for the spitting, ain't all about the love. Love and dough, gotta give it for the money, ain't no time about the money. Ain't all about the money. Wall Street, give some charity up in the honey. Wall Street, give me some charity up in the honey. Wall Street, give me some charity up in the honey. Wall Street, give me some charity up in the honey. They be going up and down, they be going up and frown. And another got a golden crown up in the round. Gotta play another round. You know, over time I've been with the Rainbow Dragon, that's the sound. En temps supplémentaire du dragon en arc-en-ciel. Chez nous, bien bilingue, comme Céline, c'est plein de sa lance. On est sur la Montréal, la métropole, qui est en train de jouer. Faites attention que les arbres, des fois ils bougent, des branches, ça tombe, pas de sécurité à l'arme. Alarme les pompiers, les boulangers, les électriciens, ça plombe, ça regarde, ça danse, ça dort. Il faut sonner la cloche, réveil. Il faut sonner la cloche, réveil. Il faut sonner la cloche, réveil, avec sa tante. Hey, let's go for the XYZ pour la tante. Pas besoin de la bénite, juste une bière à place pour que ça soit bien sûr pour la face. Et regarde pour sa danse, dans le trans ensemble. Let's go for the dough. Let's go for your snow. Let's go for me and you up in the dough. Let's go for another rock and roll for the sun up in the go. For another in the go, you know we blow. For rainbow rock and roll, you know the trouble. Hey, no trouble, I gotta play that hyper vigilance. Yeah, I'll survive those out. They want to get me down. I'll go up in the front. That's the trauma that I lived. For the scars up in the lip, somebody kissing in the dance. That lust. Yeah, lust up in the BDSM switch. I'm an ass people. Rock and roll is my is my interest. So rock and roll, le rock and roll chez Asperger's, mais avec l'autre moment fonctionnel, mais quand je suis dans le rock and roll, là, c'est rock and roll, oubliez ça, c'est 24 sur 24, it's 24/7 rock and roll, baby, let's go. And let's go for another garden in the snow. That's the trees up in the go. Canada, that coast to coast. Hey, the train conductors gotta choo-choo me some train conductors. Gotta open up some booze. Gotta get me for the train, and they gotta be a little the same. They gotta be a little the same. They gotta be a little bit saner. Sane up in the rock and roll, that's insane. I gotta go for the clowns. Gotta give another round up for the clowns. Hey, let's go another round up for the sound. The Parliament, that's the Republic. Ain't no king, the king is absent. Ain't no king, the king is absent. That's another for the Republic. That's another for the ghost. For the ghost up in the soda, pour la fête. La fantôme, ben regarde ses lumières de ses grâces. Sur l'hydro-Québec, puis ça soit l'essentiel, puis l'électrique, ça plombe. Les bombes, les chats chauffent, puis ça danse comme c'est folle, folle. Vous savez, des fois, monsieur et madame, je me change. 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 Sometimes get that 50-50. Rainbow Dragon gotta kiss his priest, the son, I gotta dance it. Kisses with it, flex with it. For those muscles, that's what's up. For those muscles, that's what's up. Dogs bark, I gotta hush them up. Dogs bark, I gotta hush them up. Dogs bark, I gotta hush them up. Hey, si danse, faut que ça lance. Faut que ça chasse, faut que ça danse, la belle province, puis regarde encore les pieds dans les ailes, ça mouille, c'est notre travail que je viens de faire, sur la montagne, that's another work and dragon, that's the go, on the ropes, you know we froze, on the rope, you know we go, that's the winter, that's the snow, you know that I sing that rock and roll, that's the winter, that's the snow, you know that I sing that rock and roll, that's the winter, that's the snow, you know I sing that, motherfucking rock and that motherfucking roll.